So I would wake up 2, 3 in the morning crying, wake up out of my sleep crying, and just, God, why? Why?
Why me?
Why? Here I am, second marriage. Wasn't supposed to even have a second marriage. First marriage was supposed to last and go and thrive. But here we are in second marriage.
Yeah.
And it's about to bust.
What is up, everybody? Yo, this is Aaron Hass with the Love Works podcast. And guess what? This is a fire episode with the fire guest, fire friend of mine. Yo, she's a therapist. She's awesome. She's like, basically my mom, part-time mom because my full-time mom, she's my full-time mom. Love her a bunch. Shout out Kim daily. So it's a good time out here in this world. Hey, this friend of mine, she loves people so well. She'll invite anyone into her home. She's got a home. It smells good. It's a nice smelling home. It's I forgot to take my shoes off when I went in there one time. Not again. And she's just great. She's just great. She goes by the name Kim Cosey. What is up? How are you?
I am great.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Dude, this is a good time. I'm excited you're here.
I'm excited.
Tell the world about yourself.
Oh my. Okay. Well, I am the mother of 2 beautiful children. My daughter is Crystal.
Okay.
Crystal Thompson, and she will be 32. And then my son, Joe, who you know.
Shout out Joe.
Shout out Joe. He is 28. And then I have 4 beautiful grandchildren.
Before we move on to your 4 grandchildren, we've got to really emphasize how great Joe's mustache is.
Okay.
I think Joe has the greatest mustache on planet Earth. And when I first saw him, I was like, that's Joe with the great mustache. So continue.
Yeah, and he's had that mustache since 5th grade.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I have the proof. I have pictures.
I don't even think I started growing like regular hair until 5th grade.
Well,
so that's
there
kind of cool.
Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, but no, my 4 wonderful grandchildren.
Okay.
My oldest will be 12.
Nice.
Next week. I know. Wow. And then I have a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 5-year-old.
Jeez.
I know. I love him so much. You met the one.
Yes, he's the sweetest kid in the whole wide world.
It was so wonderful to see him.
Man, he's awesome, and he's just got a heartbeat that's incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
Kim, what do you like doing for fun? All right, like if you're just like if you have one day to yourself and you can do whatever you want, what are you doing for fun?
I am probably wanting to be with family, friends, just hanging out, having like maybe a cookout or something like that. I enjoy being around the people that I love.
Nice.
And I do like my solitude every now and then, but if I had to choose, I'm going to choose to be with people that I love.
Nice. What's your go-to like cookout food? Like, man, we're having a cookout, like we're going to eat this.
So that's probably not the greatest question to ask me because I don't like barbecue.
Okay, so you eat hot dogs or something?
I do not. I do not. That's what I'm saying. So
like you don't like anything grilled?
Chicken. I would do grilled chicken. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grilled chicken.
Grilled chicken, barbecue chicken. Yeah, I'll do that.
I can get down with some grilled chicken. That's like, that's like what I eat. You know? I eat that sometimes. So Kim, so you're a therapist.
I am.
And that obviously is a testament to you caring about people. So like, first off, how'd you even get into that?
So that is kind of an interesting story because when I started college, I started in the law program.
Okay.
And then I finally realized,
that you hated lawyers.
Well, I'm not a great liar. I'm sorry, any lawyers out there. I'm so sorry, but I'm not a great liar, and I tend to know when people are lying.
Right.
And I tend to be able to discern like things about people. So it wasn't going to be a good match for me. Jeez. No. So I think it was just God that brought me to therapy because I was definitely not even in the mode for that at all.
Jeez.
At all. Yeah.
So when you got into therapy, obviously you probably started learning a lot of things about people, and you understand new methods and just like ways that you can even just like help people realize that they're worth life.
Yeah.
How did that impact you in your world?
So I first started out as a school social worker, and I retired from that. So I did that for 27 years. And I think the impact for me is just understanding that everyone has a story.
Right.
And we don't always know all of the story. We know parts of the story. And a lot of the children that I worked with were children who had emotional concerns, pretty severe. And some children with higher functioning autism, and coming from all different kinds of backgrounds. And it quickly allowed me to understand, don't just look at a person and assume things by what they present to you. Get to know them.
Jeez.
And find out more about their story if at all possible. And I will say at the early stages, probably up until almost like the 20-year mark, we were doing home visits. So with the school, and that was when I needed to do evaluations. So I would go in a home just like I'm doing right now, and I'd sit down and talk to a parent.
Nice.
And you get to know a person when you come into their home.
Jeez.
You get to know their environment. You get to know kind of what they're working with in a sense.
Yeah.
And this is not a bragging thing at all, but I feel like 90% of the parents that I worked with trusted me in a way that I would get calls, just random calls like, hey, I don't know what to do about this. And it didn't always pertain to their child.
Yeah.
It could just be about life. After I finished with maybe a student, maybe they went on to the next level that I wasn't going with them, maybe high school, whatever, I would still have parents call me and ask me, different questions like, I don't know what we're supposed to do here. Help me understand what I want to talk to this teacher. Tell me how I could navigate that. I've had parents ask, can you come in meetings with me?
Yeah.
And help me be the voice for me. So I was very grateful for that. And I see parents every now and then after all of this time. And it's just nice to know that you can have an impact on people in their life that way.
Yeah. And
I see students, former students of mine, and they'll come up to me and they'll tell me, hey, this is what I'm doing now. And will thank me, for things. And sometimes I'm going, I don't even know that.
I don't even remember you.
What did I do? For real. And, but you don't know. And I think that's the whole point. Sometimes you don't know how much of an impact you have on a person just spending time with them or just listening to them.
So good.
Giving them the opportunity to just be themselves and be themselves authentically. I just had a friend tell me very recently that the impact that they saw when I was working in the school was there could be 5 other teachers that were dealing with this student that was having a really rough day and behavior was out of control. And I could walk in the room, look at the child, and basically just say, I got you.
Yeah.
And they would calm down. I don't know what that is. I don't, it's not magic dust, fairy dust, none of that. I think it's just working with the students and them knowing she cares.
Jeez.
She's not just doing a job. Because I didn't look at it as just a job.
Right.
I looked at it as how can I impact these children's lives? Because that's what I'm here for.
Come on. Impacting the world. Literally sitting with them one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's so cool. So you just recently moved into a new home.
I did.
And beautiful home.
Thank you.
Why? Why the reset? Why the restart?
You're starting out hot and heavy, aren't you? Yeah. Okay. No, this is good. So, as life is, I am married and we are not together. We're not living together. Not because I didn't want that. So I'm just going to put that out there. Yeah. However, and there is a story. In November of last year, prior to that, I felt a shift in our marriage.
Right.
And let me just say, we got married March 2023.
Yeah.
March 2024. And in November of 2024, I get the information from my husband that he didn't feel the marriage was going to work any longer. And that was very impactful, because how do you go from very much in love, happy, enjoying life together, to this marriage isn't going to work? Jeez. Looking back, there were signs. There were signs of like pulling back, pulling away.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people. I'm going to go and talk to you and say, hey, I feel this is what's happening. What is going on? What can we do to resolve this?
Right.
And, I met with, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm working really hard and I'm just tired. And I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it is just me. It wasn't. Mm-hmm. And that's the unfortunate part. It wasn't just me.
Yeah.
And so I just continue to, live life and continue to try to do all the things that I thought I needed to do within that time frame and within the marriage, just being me. And then things just started dwindling really quickly.
Yeah.
And it was a difficult time to realize that I don't know if this person truly loves me still, even though maybe they say it, but actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
And so I prayed. Don't ever do this if you don't really want to know. Okay.
Don't pray.
Well, don't pray about certain things unless you really want God to tell you. I'm just going to, because for real. So I prayed and I was very specific. God, I know something is going on.
Right.
And I can see myself right now in my old house. And I was on my knees and I was on my face praying, God, I know something is going on. I need you to reveal it to me.
Right.
Because I don't know. This is my thought process. I don't know how to fix it unless I know what I'm dealing with. 2 weeks later, God revealed.
Yeah.
When he came home and said, I don't think our marriage is going to work anymore.
Jeez.
So that was an impactful day for me because I didn't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
And I was processing that. And it was the week before Thanksgiving. So here we come. Thanksgiving comes and he stays because he's like, I'm not going to leave you over the holiday. Looking back, it was all a God thing anyway, period. Because God has me all day, all night. But it was a difficult time to go through the holidays. No one knew.
Yeah.
No one knew. He and I knew, but no one else knew. And for me to put the face on, and I'm going to say putting the face on.
It's probably the hardest part.
Is what I did for 33 years in my first marriage.
Mm. So was that like a traumatic moment for you then? Like, did it bring back all those memories?
It was very triggering.
From your first marriage?
Yeah.
Did you see yourself having like emotional breakdowns on a regular basis?
Ooh. So I would wake up 2, 3 in the morning crying. Yeah. Wake up out of my sleep crying. And just, God, why? Why?
Why me?
Why? Here I am, second marriage. Wasn't supposed to even have a second marriage. Yeah. You know, first marriage is supposed to last and go and thrive. But here we are in second marriage.
Yeah.
And it's about to bust. And
God,
what did I do?
This was the redemption story.
I thought it was. I thought this was my forever. And God had other plans. He still has other plans. And as I'm telling this story, I'm still in this story.
Right. It's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
Come on. I love stories like that.
It's not over yet. And God is going to do whatever he needs to do. And I'm open to that. But I'm also at the place now where I understand my worth.
Yeah.
I understand what I bring to the table. I understand what I deserve.
Yeah.
And this ain't it. This ain't it.
You're worth so much more, you know?
So much more. So I'm living in that place right now. It's very recent. I am going to say within the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We just decided I can't have conversation, can't have contact. Social media will call it breadcrumbs.
Yeah. Receiving
breadcrumbs from a person. And that's what I was willing to accept. And I realize now that was still me being that person in that first marriage.
Yeah.
Just accepting whatever was presented to me, hoping that my behavior was going to change that somehow.
Jeez. So you mentioned your first marriage.
Yeah.
How long were you and your spouse married then, or former spouse?
Yeah, 33 years.
33 years you were married.
Yeah.
And then it started crumbling from the bits.
Oh, it started crumbling way early.
Wow.
Like
At
almost
what
from the
point did
beginning.
you realize, at the beginning? At what point did you realize, like, I don't know if this is going to actually work?
So there's a thing though. In that first marriage, you know, as a Christian growing up, okay, because I'm a certain age now. I got married at 19.
Okay.
I was very young, and on paper, the spouse looked great.
Yeah.
Got the college degree. You are working in the church. You're saved. All of these things.
Yeah.
So you look good on paper, and that's what you're supposed to do. That's who you're supposed to marry, somebody like that. And so I'm thinking I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. There were red flags prior to marriage, but you know, as an 18, 19-year-old in the relationship, you think you know a lot. You think you know a lot of stuff. You don't know nothing. And looking back now, obviously, I see the red flags. There were a lot.
Yeah.
And marriage begins, and we start going, and things just don't go like they're supposed to. And here I am. Oh God, what am I supposed to do different? Make me better. Make me a better wife.
Yeah.
Make me a better person so that this marriage can be better. That's me taking on the responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. So in this season of life you're in now, you are in a new home.
Yeah.
You're in a new environment. It's probably actually really refreshing.
It is.
What has been the biggest struggle in this season?
That's easy. Loneliness.
Loneliness.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're married 33 years. Okay, so you're not alone, even though it's not great. You're not alone, and you have children. So you're doing all the things. My children were involved in all the things. So, you know, I'm all constantly with them and doing things with them, and then they eventually go away. But you're still married.
Yeah.
And then in between that was a wonderful time because I was so happy to be independent. I was so happy to be away from that.
Yeah.
And I felt like God had really given me this new start, and I was happy. And then second marriage comes along. I'm pursued because I'm like, I'm good. I am so good in this place.
Yeah.
You want to go out a couple of times? Sure. But I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And the pursuit just continued. And finally I was like, all right, maybe I will go ahead and bite. We'll try this again. And so then the loneliness, I never really felt that in that interim period because I was good. And now that I no longer have that again, I didn't choose it this time. That's the difference.
Wow.
The first marriage, I needed to get out. It had to be done.
Yeah.
This time, it kind of blindsided me in a sense.
Jeez.
And so it's much different in this phase.
Yeah.
And yeah, the loneliness is probably the most difficult thing.
I believe it. And I think that's like, especially with the situation you've been in, because that's a triggering type of thing. Cause it's like, man, I'm being betrayed in two different ways.
Yeah.
One I never expected. And now here I am once again feeling alone.
Yeah.
What do you feel like you're hiding from the world?
Probably insecurities, probably the idea of that in this place that I'm in now, I don't want sometimes I don't want people to feel bad for me. So, you know, you put the face on again and you show up for people and you do the things for people, but inside you're breaking. You're literally breaking. But you don't want to show that because I don't want to be that person that's walking around all the time, you know, with that face.
Slump.
We know that face when people are miserable and could cry at any moment, even though for the most part, I feel like that a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person that walks in the room and people are able to go, whoa, she came and, we want to talk to her and we want to be around her. Because I think it comes from that place of I don't want to be lonely.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I'm my authentic self right now in this phase, people will be like, oh, so bad for her. But we don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. What are you scared would happen if people, quote unquote, found you out then?
That they would probably just feel like we don't want to be around her. It's too heavy. It's too much. We don't have anything for her.
Yeah.
And too bad for her. She should have known better. She should have known better. So I don't know.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's your biggest fear whenever you're headed home at night or just headed home after a day of work?
Yeah.
I mean, you work from home too.
I do. I work from home. But yeah, at night, I have to be much more aware of my surroundings.
Right.
And before I didn't. If you think of that on social media, they have that meme or the reel or whatever it is, where the lady is with her husband and they're holding hands and she's just la 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 la, and he's the one that's on alert, looking around, trying to check everything out. That was me. Yeah. I was the la 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 because I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to be aware of what was happening around me. Now I do.
Yeah. And
so coming home at night and making sure all the lights are on and. Get out of the car and don't linger outside and things like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're a therapist. We brought that up a few times. Do you regularly attend therapy on your own, or do you just kind of practice the principles that you teach?
I do both. So I practice the principles and I have a therapist.
Okay.
The things that I've been through, I need a therapist.
Yeah.
I started therapy. Well, I started therapy in my first marriage, and I went probably, this is a funny story, I went about maybe 5 times, and I was really enjoying it until she basically told me that the marriage that I was in, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
That the marriage I was in was trash and that it was very abusive and very mentally abusive, and I probably needed to get out.
Jeez.
I wasn't ready to hear that.
I can't imagine somebody's like, you know what? I'm ready for me to hear that now. I'm just waiting.
Maybe some people just need that verification. I don't know,
so.
know, but I was not there. I have children at home, and at that time we have a church.
Yeah.
This person was a pastor, and so I'm doing all the things, and you don't do that. You don't do that.
Did you feel like you would let people down if that were to happen?
Absolutely.
Also, I can't imagine being put in that position from the female perspective, or vice versa, I guess. If you're a pastor and your spouse is like, I'm ready to leave. Like, the spouse obviously has to be thinking, will I destroy the ministry that's at hand? Which in reality, now that I'm thinking on it, the pastor would have been the one that destroyed the ministry that he had at hand, which would be the marriage. So that's incredibly heartbreaking. So season of life you're in now, how do you feel like your childhood affected it?
So I wouldn't say I had a difficult childhood. My mom was born and raised in church, and she was always that foundation of church. And I was born and raised in church, and my brother and I joke that I haven't met a person that is more saved than my mom.
Yeah.
I mean, for real.
Did she bring like a tambourine to church?
No.
I feel like those are like extra saved people.
No. My mom wasn't that. My mom she's very opposite of me.
Okay.
And that she's very quiet. She's very demure.
Nice, demure. That's good.
She's very quiet, but she definitely has this way about her that she's all about God, and she's all about pleasing God and in every aspect of her life.
Wow.
Okay. And so that was my mom raising us. My dad, on the other hand, was the exact opposite. And he was an alcoholic. He was a drug addict. He was, verbally abusive toward my mom, things like that. The childhood, we saw some of that, but we didn't see a lot of that.
Yeah.
But we knew things were happening. You know, there were times, and I know if my dad watches this, he'll be like, yeah, absolutely, tell the story.
Wow.
Because it's a great story. We would come home sometimes. Dad was drunk, and you know, he wasn't present. He wasn't available. My mom was working. She had to work, so she worked a lot of the like second shift.
Yeah.
So if anybody understands latchkey kids, look it up if you don't. That was my brother and I. So basically we're home taking care of each other. And I'm like 10, 11, you know, you wouldn't imagine that. I have an 11-year-old grandson right now. There's absolutely no way his parents are leaving him home like that.
Or should.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. And so, you know, it was that kind of an upbringing of childhood. And you did it. You just did it. You didn't think a lot about it, but you did it. Thankfully, at 13, my dad got saved. And as radical as he was in the world, he's just as radical for God. And so he got poured into the word and all of the things and started to really be that person in the family to direct and to lead and to guide. And so I feel like I have like a part one of my childhood, and then there's part two of my childhood. And so it's like my dad, BC, and my dad, you know, after Christ kind of thing, you know, before Christ and after Christ. But I think that impacted me in a way that I understand alcoholism. I understand drug addiction to an extent.
Yeah.
I understand how impactful it can be on a family. And I also understand how God can save in a miraculous way.
That's good.
And I think it's that part for me that I don't limit God. I try not to limit God.
Yeah.
And I try to tell other people, don't limit God at all. Don't put him in a box.
Yeah,
don't say, well,
good.
I don't have this degree and I don't have, God doesn't need degrees. He doesn't need status. He doesn't need age. He needs nothing but just you saying, whatever you want, God.
Yeah. I'm in.
I'm ready.
That's good. Do you feel like the relationship you had with your dad in part one of his life, I guess, or of your childhood, do you feel like that maybe skewed your view of marriage?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of a blur in a sense. And being a therapist, I understand there was a lot that I blocked out.
Yeah.
Because I needed to block it out.
Yeah.
And every now and then I'll have like little snippets of a memory of something. And I may not even understand what is that? Where did it come from? But there's a lot of my childhood that is blocked out and blurred.
Wow.
And all I can say is maybe God did that for a reason. For me.
Wow.
I'm not sure.
You don't remember?
I don't. Right. I don't know.
Let's say all of that stuff from your part one of your childhood were to come back today, and you remembered everything. Where do you think your mental space would be?
Great question. I probably need 2 therapists. No.
You start like looking in the mirror, talking to yourself.
Hey, you know.
It's like, here I am.
I think if I were to see that today, I would be okay though. There, because of the place that I'm in now and the experiences that I've had, I feel like I would be okay.
Yeah.
It would be very interesting.
Would be.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, I have a tradition on this podcast.
Okay.
Where I open it up for my guests to ask me any question, uncut, unfiltered. What's your question for me?
Oh, good. What is the one thing that you feel God is directing you to do that is the most fearful for you right now?
That's a good question. I don't. That's so funny. Like I think there's a couple of different layers to this. That's why I'm thinking through it. One is just like really go all in on the word. Like really dig into that. Also,
what's fearful about that?
That's a good question. It's really not. That's not a fearful thing. It's more of a man. Like let's do it.
Okay. Okay.
And so that's been really good for me. I didn't answer your question correctly.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's like, man, I'm terrified of the Bible.
No.
But so also like, man, just going all in on this too. Like I'm in a season where it's like, all right, yeah, let me keep doing this. I'm going to make sure that this is in tune with him. And also like, let's just like, let me run with it. Like, let me really hustle and make sure that this is propelling in the right direction. And that's terrifying because, you know, you don't have that like direct assured income whenever you're like a content creator. Yeah. And so like if you make bad content or content that people aren't enjoying, people aren't going to listen. The cool thing about the content I create is that it literally is, it is a valuable asset because it is people's stories, and your story is only your story. Absolutely. And it's relatable to thousands and thousands of people. Absolutely. Because there's aspects of your story that's like, this is so true and so real in my life. Yeah. So that's scary. Also like holding on to people's like hearing people's stories and holding it gently. Yeah. Like there is a fine line I can play. That's like, let me make sure that this is like, actually, I'm stewarding this well. So it can be scary for sure that, and like, man, I'm just, really trying to just love my family well, you know, and just like, that's one thing I feel like God's putting on me. Like, man, you got to really love the people that I've got, like I've already blessed you with. So that's one thing that's been, he's been pushing me towards. Man, I could talk on this for hours. Like, I know. But I love it. Like even down to like, I've got more people I've got to go back and fix relationships with. And which is funny. Cause like, I always was like, you know what? My relationships are cool. But I'm also like, man, why did I do it this way? I could have loved this person better that way. And now I'm going back and trying to restore something that I might have messed up. And so,
and what if those people don't accept that?
That's also a part of it, and it's okay. Yeah. Because at that point, it's not on me anymore. Absolutely. And so there's a blessing in that freedom. So I love that so much.
It's a healthy perspective. Very healthy.
I mean, I think it's the most freeing perspective. And I think that goes for anybody that's listening that's even not a believer or a follower of Jesus. Maybe you believe in something else, and you're still so welcome to listen to this podcast, because this isn't even like your traditional religious podcast. It's just a podcast where we get real. But like if you're willing to look at life from the lens of, if this person chooses to not love me, but I have made sure that I did my part to make it right, you're set free. Yeah. Like you're set free from that. Even if you might have done something that's incredibly heartbreaking or hurting towards that person, like you're set free in your world. Yeah. Holding on to what that person holding on to what that you might have done to them, that's them. Like that's okay too. And that's their perspective. So, yeah. What kind of thoughts do you have for the people right now? Like if you could tell them anything or teach them anything about who you are, what would you tell them?
I would say, I am one of those people that truly believes in God and truly believes in the fullness of God, in his power. He has revealed to me very recently of how prayer works. And I knew how prayer worked. But when you're facing circumstances, situations that are beyond your control, that's when you really, truly understand God's complete power that he has. The fact that you can pray, and while you're praying, God can reveal things to you. Like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. This is why I'm doing this. And I always say, God doesn't have to reveal the why to us. Yeah. He doesn't, because he's that kind of God that I can just do the things I need to do. You just trust that it's going to be okay, and let's just keep going. Yeah. But in those times when I just really need to know why, or I need to know parts of the why, because sometimes he can't tell me all of the why. because I can't handle all the why.
Yeah.
So he'll tell me parts of the why. And I'm so grateful for that because he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to say, all right, I'm going to sit down with you and let me explain why. In the second marriage, one of the things that God explained why to me was I had to remove him because you put him in my place. Mm. And of course, I'm going to argue with God. I'm going to go, what are you talking about? I don't do that. What do you mean? Yeah. And I was sincere about what does that even mean? No, God, I would not ever put anyone in your place. And he said, but that's what happened, that you were trusting in this person more than you were trusting in me. Wow. The relationship that you and I had was not as strong as it needed to be because you had this person now who you were trusting in and who you were giving that to. And just to know that we serve this God that says, I need you and I need our relationship. And that is the most important thing because that's what's going to carry you through all the things in life. Yeah. Not this person, but me. I need you there. I need you in that place. I'm a jealous God. Wow. We read that in the Bible all the time. Do we understand it? Do we fully, totally understand what that means? I do. Yeah. In this station of life, I do. God has said to me, I am a jealous God. I will have nobody else before me because if that's what's happening and I have things that I need you to be doing, I have work that you need to be doing, and that work is not going to happen because you're so like this right now with the person. Wow. You give me no other choice but to remove.
That's good.
And when you have a calling on your life, God don't play.
Come on. What's the bigger thing for you that you want to do in life right now? Like, man, this is what I got to make sure that this gets accomplished because I'm passionate about this. And I want, for you.
I think the biggest thing is making sure that, and I know you said for me, but this is for me, that my children are in a place where they are receiving all of the things that God has for them. All of the things. Because in spite of what I've been through and what they've seen me go through and they've gone through, I want them to experience everything God has for them. Yeah. And I want that to trickle to my grandchildren, of course. Because this isn't just about me. Yeah. This is absolutely about the people in my life that I feel I have the biggest impact on. Right. And then the people that are also the other family that I have that I get to choose, the friendships. I want God to be able to bless them, and whatever I can do to help make that happen, I want to be in my place to do that. Wow. And I feel like God has put me in that place now, where I am now, to be able to do that for friends. So as you mentioned, earlier, me being like your second mom, I appreciate that.
Yeah, come on.
More than you understand, because it's just in relationships. Yeah. And I didn't have this before. I'm at this age finally having friendships, authentic friendships.
Come on.
Because it wasn't allowed in the first marriage. And then you just get to that place where you feel like, oh, I don't need that. I'm good. I don't need that. Wow. So, yeah.
Out of all the relationships you've had, even like outside of just marriages, but inside of marriage as well, what is something that you did or created that you look back on and say, wow, I really messed up there?
Well, just one thing? I don't know. I think especially in that first marriage, not seeing the red flags and not being aware of that. Yeah. That's one thing. And then, you get to a place where you're 33 years in a marriage that you truly didn't feel the love. You didn't feel loved. Yeah. And you're every year asking for love from God, like every year. And then, you get out of that relationship and then you get into another relationship that is giving you love, but it's not giving you love in a way that you really truly need it to be given, but it's love nonetheless. And it feels good in it, and it looks good, and all of that. And you're going, all right, this is what I've been looking for, God.
Right.
But it's not. It's not, because it can't be fully yours to have.
Yeah.
And that's probably the one thing. I wouldn't say I wouldn't want to have had that experience, because I think everything that happens, whatever we experience, comes to teach us something about life. The good, the bad, the ugly that we experience teaches us. And that experience taught me what real love can look like, how it can feel, even though it wasn't mine to be able to continue to have,
right,
or that I was able to get or have forever. Mm-hmm. I experienced what that looked like.
Wow.
And I needed to have that, because I was at the point where I was like, Lord, in that first marriage, look, if I can't have love like that, you got to take the love that I have away, because this hurts to have love this strong and not be able to experience it with this person at all. So just take it. And so it was at that point where I was like, love, whatever.
Wow.
And then I'm presented with this. And although it wasn't necessarily the way it should have been for me, I still look at it as, okay, I'm grateful for that, even that part.
So good.
I'm grateful for even this part of my life, because I learned some things about myself in this phase of life that I didn't know before.
Man, that is so, so good. What closing thoughts do you have for the people?
Ooh, just trust God in everything.
Yeah.
In all things. Don't limit him in anything. Your story comes to teach you so much. Don't be concerned about how it looks.
Come on.
Or what the experiences are that you might have had in your past. Your past does not decide who your future will be.
Sure it doesn't.
And
that sure doesn't.
Allow what you have in the past, the things that you experienced, to teach you.
Yeah.
Don't let it come to bring you shame, guilt, any of that. What did it teach you? What did it teach you about yourself? What did it teach you about life?
Yeah.
About moving forward? Because it taught you something.
That's right.
It absolutely taught you something. So what did it teach you? My thing is, I either win or I learn.
Yeah.
There's no losing in life.
No losing.
No, because I'm still here.
Come on.
So we're not losing.
Come on.
We're learning. So what can you learn from the experiences that you've had that maybe didn't go quite the way you wanted? What did you learn?
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I love it so much. This is Kim Cosey. This is the Love Works podcast. My name's Aaron Hass. This has been an awesome episode. And so make sure you hit that subscribe button, or you share this episode with a friend, and maybe you whatever you do, like it on Spotify or the 5-star, whatever you do, just do it, And so this has been awesome. Thank y'all a bunch. Love you a bunch. Peace out.